I have this professor for the modern novel, Jack Davis, and you have to come to the class. And so I went to her class and I wanted to take it, but the administration said I couldn't because I already took the modern novel. So I took his Romantic and Victorian literature class, and it was just terrific to hear Jack read poems, recite poems, talk about poems. And sometimes he would assign a poem and I would go home and read it and I would think, oh, that's okay. And then I'd come in and he would recite it, so I would be blown away. And to this day I read all poetry aloud, I think, because of Jack. And he really brought poetry to my life. I would like to recite a very brief poem that Jack recited in our class just because it always makes me think of him. It's Wordsworth's "A Slumber Did My Spirit Seal." He said this poem, okay, so I just, whatever, it's just been with me for years. A slumber did my spirit seal. I had
Louder.
A slumber did my spirit seal. I had no human fears. She seemed a thing that could not feel the touch of earthly years. No motion has she now, no force. She neither hears nor sees, rolled round in earth's diurnal course, with rocks and stones and trees. Anyway, he was my teacher, he became my friend, and a generous friend he was, and even allowed me to stay in a little cottage out there for a while and here when it got cold. And then I moved away, and he became my letter writing friend and my telephone friend and my critic and my reader and my person who recommended the best reading to me. And I brought when I found out that Jack died, I was like, well, I think I have all these letters around my house, and I don't keep very good records, so I was like, I think there's one in the bedside table, and there's one in the sock drawer, and I started looking around the house, and I found a few letters, and I read them, and it really was such a comfort to hear his voice in those letters. And then I went searching and found more letters, and they were so filled with literary knowledge and close reading and kindness and love, and I felt so fortunate after reading some of those letters to feel that so loved, and I'm sure so many people in this room feel the same way. So I read one of the letters to Joe, and he said it was okay to read this, and I hope that it's not self-indulgent since it refers to one of my poems, but that's not why I'm reading it to you. I'm reading it because it's Jack's writing, and it's his voice here among us. So, Dearest Mary, a couple of weeks ago I celebrated my 84th birthday. Each day I have to remind myself many times that I am 84 years old is a true proposition, as inexorable as 4 times 20 plus 4 equals 84. In A Few Rules of Thumb, that's the title of a poem of mine, a poet, a young woman, writes of planting poems in envelopes addressed to old men. Is the old guy still within hailing distance of his gifted friend? The disappointing thing is that I have nothing penetrating to say about old age. There was a life, and it was mine, though mine begs the question of identity through time. There are days when I feel like a bemused spectator of a play whose sense I can't quite make out. Who was that kid they called Jack? And who were they? How shall I put it? The scenes one recalls seem to belong to someone else's life. Please don't interpret this as depression. My life, in spite of a few physical infirmities, is not spent brooding over what Wordsworth put beautifully as fallings from us, vanishings, though there have been many of them in recent years. I still read omnivorously. My mind is clear and retentive. I see friends, follow the political campaign. I even enjoy Mary Cain's poetry. Nobody else sounds at all like me. I can skip that part. Okay, I'm sure I know. It is not altogether intelligible to me, but I'm beginning to like it. A little. Oh wait, I have to read this part. Sorry. The poem could be, but probably isn't, a succinct version of Wordsworth's ode, "There hath passed away a glory from the earth." I have trouble construing the opening lines. And then he just says, I have to think more about the Modigliani poems. Love, Jack. Remember me to Vincent and Lily. Send more poems, exclamation point, which seems perfect for his enthusiasm. So many times I look forward to talking to Jack on the phone and hearing what I must read next. And this is going to miss me a lot.